Hi everyone, so happy Monday. I know that this is the time of year where we're kind of back into the swing of things. I know the first few weeks of September can be really hectic, and today's episode is basically about what happens when kids have learning difficulties, whether it's with reading, focus, behavior, any of those types of things, and where this breakdown can occur. So I want to start off by just telling you about a client of mine that I had a while back. Let's call him Connor. And he was in grade 7, but reading at a grade 4 reading level. And had all kinds of other difficulties as well, like trouble following instructions, didn't really seem to process what mom or dad was saying to him when they said there was a delay. It was like it took time for him to process things. He couldn't follow multiple instructions, all kinds of stuff like that. Same thing in the classroom. He had a very hard time with the oral instructions that the teacher had given him and so forth. And originally he was diagnosed with dyslexia. Later on, as Connor got a bit older, maybe grade 5 or grade 6, they found out he had auditory processing disorder. So mom was like, oh, perfect. We've got a proper diagnosis. Now we can get some answers and insight and support and so forth. But much to her frustration, that didn't happen. Let me know if you've been through this, where again, the answers are just more accommodations, more strategies, which can totally be helpful, but really just left Connor and his parents still kind of spinning their wheels and feeling really frustrated. So what happened was mom came across, it was an article that I had written on the connection between primitive reflexes and auditory processing disorder. So if you've only started following me, you might not know what primitive reflexes are. To put it in a nutshell, primitive reflexes are like these infant reflexes that all babies have when they're first born. They should disappear by at least 3 years of age, if not earlier, and they're essential for survival. But if they remain intact, they're going to basically create a block and make it really hard for your child to access certain parts of their brain, particularly their prefrontal cortex, which is where executive functioning happens, right? All of the organization, planning, critical thinking, sequencing, discernment, decision-making, all of those types of things. And these infant reflexes can also impact other aspects, including visual processing as well as auditory processing. So what really shocked mom was that when she started reading about not only auditory processing disorder, but some of those infant reflexes that can be impacted in relation to if there's auditory processing disorder, she messaged me to say, "You are describing my son exactly." And so everything from how Connor could not sit still, which was a retained spinal galant reflex, which we addressed, to him just saying, huh, or what, right after somebody who was like standing right beside him, might have asked a question. So it wasn't that he hadn't heard it, but when someone has auditory processing disorder, they say, huh, or what, because it really didn't reach them. The information, they didn't really have time to process it. And that's kind of how they respond, to have more time to receive the information or for it to be reiterated for them to tune in and actually process it. Other aspects that can be impacted when there are retained primitive reflexes are things like poor balance, poor posture. Connor was another kid who only crawled for a very short amount of time, was an early walker. Like so many of us, mom thought that was wonderful, but soon learned that, crawling helps to integrate those two hemispheres in terms of the left and right brain hemisphere. So they did my program. We screened, we worked on reflexes, we worked on brain hemisphere imbalance and so forth. And about halfway through, his focus had improved, his ability to just pay attention to instructions, whether it was at home or at school, his reading and so forth improved. And then by the end of the program, I believe he had gone up 9 reading levels and was continuing to make progress and, just have so much more self-confidence and self-esteem, which I know all of us want to see in our kids, right? We know that confidence is key. So all of this to say that auditory processing disorder is not some mysterious, ambiguous, weird, disorder that we can't understand or begin to understand what are the causes, what are the factors involved in terms of, how we can address it and so forth. And that's what I'm going to be talking about this Thursday. I'm going to be doing a free training on auditory processing disorder in terms of, does your child have it? And obviously, I'm not a physician, I'm not diagnosing it, but just to help recognize signs. Because if you're approaching a learning disorder from just this angle of my child has a learning difficulty, but we're not understanding what's really going on in the brain and how to overcome that with corrective therapies, then we're really doing an uphill battle. And that's where kids get really frustrated, and that's where they start to have low self-esteem, and it really starts to impact them in later years and so forth. So let me know in the comments below, does your child have auditory processing disorder? Have you heard of this? Do you suspect, based on just the few things that I've said to you today, that this could be a factor with your child? And let me know what you're seeing, what you're experiencing, and so forth. I'm curious to see. So once again, that training will be 12 p.m. Eastern in my Facebook group, Building Better Brains, this Thursday. So hope to see you there, and have a great Monday. Thanks for watching.